As you clicked on the video, there are thousands, if not millions, that are watching a video sponsored by NordVPN, Incogni, BetterHelp.
Installed on it?
Of course.
Good, because they're the sponsor of this video.
We used you to promote something.
Heard of Incogni?
Incog what now?
Incogni. It's a service that contacts data brokers on your behalf to request the removal of your personal information from the internet.
Which is why BetterHelp's mission is to make professional therapy accessible, affordable, and
The list goes on. You see, over the years, the amount of sponsors on YouTube has nearly tripled. So I asked myself, why is it that though these services are useless, they somehow always spend on advertising on your favorite YouTube channel? And I found something dark. You see, the YouTube sponsorship market is a $45 billion industry built on fear and the trust you, the viewer, place in most of your favorite creators right here on this platform. This is an industry where the same company owns competing services, where problems are manufactured just to sell you the solution. So I analyzed numerous YouTube sponsorships over the years, and what I found was really disturbing. It cuts so deep that you may never look at YouTube sponsors the same. If you love documentaries like these in general, be sure to subscribe, smash, and hype the video. By hyping the video, we can make sure YouTube sees this and does something. Let's start with the obvious question. Why don't you see normal companies advertising on YouTube? As YouTuber Micro, with over 100,000 subscribers, revealed most YouTube sponsors fall into three main categories.
YouTube sponsors fall into three main categories: subscription services, one-off novelty purchases, and dubious investments.
And surprisingly absent are the regular products you'd find in a typical store. The reason is actually quite suspicious. These companies aren't established businesses trying to maintain their market. They're startups backed by huge capital and private equity firms, operating under a strategy called blitz scaling. This is where companies prioritize rapid growth over profitability, spending massive amounts on advertising to capture market share as quickly as possible. Think of it like this. Blitz scaling is named after the German military strategy from World War II, where troops advance faster than enemies could react. These companies don't care if their business model is sustainable initially. They just want to dominate the market before competitors or regulators can stop them. That's quite something. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, VPNs. These are by far the most prevalent and misleading sponsors on YouTube. There's been a massive push for VPN advertising.
If you don't use NordVPN, then you're a dummy dumb. Here's, for example, me watching anime without NordVPN. Wow, so many options. But with one click of a button, I'm fastly connected, and boom, I'm in, baby. NordVPN lets you quickly and safely transform your experience online. There's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't have a VPN, unless you want to nerf your online internet experience, of course.
This is what most people don't understand about how the internet actually works. When you want to watch a YouTube video, you're essentially sending a letter requesting that content. Before 2016, these requests were like postcards. Anyone could read them. But then the government mandated HTTPS, which sealed these letters so only you and the website could see the contents. This is important because the main VPN selling point was about public Wi-Fi being dangerous.
And relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection.
The HTTPS encryption that became the standard resolved this exact problem. Yet VPN companies continued pushing this narrative in their sponsorship scripts, also claiming VPNs prevent websites from tracking. But cookies track everything you do, regardless of VPN usage. And some sites can even detect if you're using a VPN. The deeper you go into the VPN industry, the more you will be left in complete disbelief. In 2019, VPN companies brought in $25 billion. By 2022, that grew to $45 billion. Industry estimates suggest this could reach $137 billion by 2030, and even $350 billion by the next decade. They're making this money not by selling the service, but by convincing consumers to pay for something they don't truly understand. The business model is actually brilliant, but most VPN services sell subscriptions in 1 or 2 year chunks, and most people forget by the time it auto-renews. Unlike other services, when people see a $40 annual renewal, they think, well, it's helping me be more secure online, and just let it continue forever. The companies know this and exploit it. NordVPN and Surfshark, two of the biggest YouTube advertisers, actually merged their parent companies in 2022. They're the same company presenting themselves as competitors, which feels like it's getting too easy for them, basically. Moving on to another problematic case, data deletion services like Incogni and Delete Me. These services claim to remove your personal information from data brokers, but the reality is much more complicated than their marketing claims. Here's how they inflate their numbers. When these services services report that they have been removing thousands of your data, they're often counting each item separately. If your name appears on multiple addresses, that's counted as multiple pieces of information, not brokers. One analysis showed that out of 17 items supposedly removed, only 8 were actually correct pieces of information.
I used Mozilla Monitor. They showed that from one data broker, there were 3 email addresses, 1 phone number, 9 addresses, and 4 family members. Of that information, only 8 of the items were actually correct pieces of information. The others were incorrect emails. The phone number wasn't one that had ever been mine at any point in history. Some of the addresses were wrong, and even the list of family members contained people I have never heard of before. All of these data deletion services will count this as 17 removals, but it was all from a single source, half of which wasn't even my data.
And would you believe that if you live in a state with right to delete laws, you can actually do this yourself for free? The California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA, gives consumers the right to delete personal information collected from them. Similar laws exist in Virginia, Colorado, Connecticut, and several other states. Deletion requests must generally be fulfilled within 45 days. And if a consumer isn't happy with a company's response, they can often complain to the state's attorney general. These companies are essentially charging you $100 to $300 per year for something you could do yourself for free, but they make the process seem very complex and highly technical to justify their outrageous fees. They'll tell you it takes expert knowledge and hours of work, when in reality, most data broker sites have opt-out forms that take less than 2 minutes to fill out. What a waste. Most surprising of all, Incogni is actually owned by the same company that makes NordVPN. So we're actually seeing the same parent company pushing multiple solutions to problems they're helping create. It's getting too easy for them at this point. And then there's BetterHelp, which has appeared in countless sponsorships despite serious ethical concerns. The platform has faced allegations, including defrauding their users' bank accounts, selling their sensitive data, and even giving unlicensed medical advice. So why do creators promote these questionable services? The answer is surprisingly sympathetic. Most influencers have extremely short career windows on their platforms, so they have just a few years to maximize their earnings. Additionally, creators who don't take these lucrative deals find themselves competing against channels producing Netflix quality content funded by these sponsorships. The production costs for high quality videos are expensive, and sponsor money is often the only way to maintain competitive, high quality productions. The real problem isn't entirely the influencers, it's the lack of regulation. Companies like Meta, Google, and Amazon have been collecting personal data with virtually no oversight in the United States. Even now, there isn't a single federal law preventing companies from collecting your data in the first place. Now here's what makes this whole situation really sad. It hasn't always been like this. YouTube sponsorship used to be really honest. Let me paint you a picture of how insanely different things were just a decade ago. Back in the early 2010s, YouTube sponsors were actually legitimate companies selling real products. Sponsorship videos got millions of views then, like Nike. Think about that. Nike, a company that makes actual physical products that you can touch, wear, and use. Not some sketchy subscription service or fear-mongering tech solution. In those early days, you'd see YouTubers partnering with video game companies promoting actual games, tech channels sponsored by legitimate hardware manufacturers like AMD or Intel, cooking channels sponsored by actual food brands, and so many other legit and practical things. These were real businesses selling real products to real consumers who actually wanted and needed them. The bottom line is this: most YouTube sponsors prey on fear, confusion, and the trust you have in your favorite creators. They're selling solutions to problems that either don't exist or are greatly exaggerated. Here's the deal: every sponsor on this channel will be thoroughly investigated. We're committed to ensuring that our viewers are informed and protected from potential scams. So next time you see a sponsor segment, ask yourself, is this company trying to educate me or scare me into buying something I don't really understand? Remember, if a product were truly essential and beneficial, it wouldn't need to rely on fear-based marketing to succeed.